Readers investigate ways to make their reading sound great. How do readers make their reading sound really great? What does my teacher do that I can do too? So, readers, I had a big problem yesterday. I was thinking about how you have all been working hard to use your tools to figure out problems fast. And then I thought, that's not enough. You also need to think about the sound of your reading. Right now, let's listen really carefully to how I'm reading this book to try to figure out how each of you can become a reading star. Let's see if we can work together to investigate this question. How do readers make their reading sound really great? What am I doing that you can try too? Here are some ways you can sound like a reading star. Scoop up lots of words. Look out for clues like dialogue tags with quotation marks or speech bubbles. Change your voice to sound like the characters. Show feelings. Read some parts slow and some parts fast. Add sound effects. Read loud and clear. Today I'm going to show you how I read like a star by reading one story from Frog and Toad Are Friends. Here we have the table of contents, which shows that there are 5 stories in this book. I'm going to be reading the story Spring, which starts on page 4. Spring. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. In that sentence, I made sure to scoop up lots of words. I didn't sound like a choppy ninja robot reading. You know what I mean. Frog and Toad ran up the path. What makes this reading sound great is how I scooped up all the words. Let's go back and listen to that part again. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. Wow, I'm scooping up lots of words. He knocked on the front door. There was no answer. Toad! Toad! Shouted Frog. Wake up! It's spring! Here I looked for a dialogue tag. I see that in this part, Toad is speaking because there are quotation marks. And it said shouted, so I didn't whisper it. Toad! Toad! I made sure to shout it. Toad! Toad! Shouted Frog. Wake up! It's spring! Blah! Said a voice from inside the house. Toad! Toad! Cried Frog. The sun is shining. The snow is melting. Wake up! I am not here, said the voice. Frog walked into the house. It was dark. All the shutters were closed. Toad, where are you? Called the frog. Go away, said the voice from a corner of the room. Here, when I said, go away, I'm using my voice to show how the character is feeling. He's probably feeling a little angry or cranky that someone is waking him up. Toad was lying in bed. He had pulled all the covers over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of the bed. He pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. Help! Said Toad. I cannot see anything. Don't be silly, said Frog. What you see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad. Think of it, said Frog. We will skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim through the river. In the evening, we will sit right here on this front porch and count the stars. You can count them too, Frog, said Toad. I will be too tired, and I'm going back to bed. So here, when I read that, I wanted to show the character's feelings. I made a yawning sound. Listen again. I will be too tired. I'm going back to bed. Toad went back into the house. He got into the bed and pulled the covers over his head. But Toad, cried Frog, you'll miss all the fun. Listen, Frog, said Toad, how long have I been asleep? You have been asleep since November, said Frog. Well then, said Toad, a little more sleep will not hurt me. Come back again and wake me up at about 1/2 May. Good night, Frog. But Toad, said Frog, I will be lonely until then. Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. He tore off the December page, and the January page, and the February page, and the March page. So here I read some parts slow and some parts really fast, and the January page, and the February page, and the March page. He came to the April page. Frog tore off the April page too. Whoosh! You can even make sound effects. So that was my sound effect of Frog tearing off the April page. Whoosh! Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. Toad! Toad! Wake up! It is May now. What? Said Toad. Can it be May so soon? Yes, said Frog. Look at your calendar. Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. Why, it is May, said Toad as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in spring. Make sure that when you're always reading loud and clear. You don't want to mumble through, and you don't want to read so quietly that someone can't hear you. So make sure that your voice is loud and clear as you're reading. Tools for understanding our book. We think, what might happen next? We check that you're getting it by rereading. We make a movie to picture what's happening. We act it out to understand. We keep track of who's talking by speech bubbles and quotation marks. We say the word as best we can, and we think about what it means. Tools for solving and checking hard words. Think about what's happening. Check the picture. Does that make sense? Think what kind of word would fit. Get a running start. Does that sound right? Do a slow check. Crash the parts together. Reread it part by part. Try it many ways by using long and short vowel sounds. Use a word you know and check if it's a snap word or a word on the word wall. Take charge of your reading. Off you go.